All right. Fizbo's no. I got a bunch of yes. Connie says depends. Heather says depends on what you're doing to help. Anthony says no. If you're making money off of it, yes. And Crystal says not if you aren't receiving payment. All right, cool. So I think we have enough answers here. So here's the thing. Can you help somebody else sell their home and not have a license? The only key thing here that you guys need to remember, and some of you hit it right, the only thing you need to remember is that if there is a fee, if there is a commission, or if there's a valuable consideration, all right, then you must have a license. So let's say your parents, and I'm telling you this because there might be a question formulated somewhat like this. John is helping his father sell his house, right? And the father promised the car that's in the garage if he can help him sell the house. You see, sorry. You see, the car is considered valuable consideration. It's not money, but it has some type of value. So guys, if the question in the state exam states something that presents itself as an exchange of value, then you need to have a license. It doesn't matter who you're helping. You can help your neighbor sell his or her house. You don't need a license. But the moment you expect payment or some type of exchange, you do need a license. Take a very good note on that. All right? Those of you that are smirking, I know you've got paid under the table several times. I got it. All right? All right, so we're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about helping friends and family, right, and getting paid for it. If you have a license, it's illegal. If you don't have a license, it's still illegal, okay? Anybody that helps somebody else and expects a compensation must have a license. All right, ready? Next thing. In New Jersey, licenses have been administered by the Real Estate Commission since 1921, okay? And they operate, so Real Estate Commission operates under the Department of Banking and Insurance. Now, licenses are governed by the Real Estate License Act, known as Title 45, Chapter 15, and rules and regulations are set up by the Commission right here under Title 11, Chapter 5 of the Administrative Code. So if you ever have a question about what you're doing or about what somebody else is doing, if it's legal or not, these are the two places of the New Jersey rules. These are the two places where you can find if it's legal or not. One other thing I want you to know is later on this is going to be addressed as NJAC 11.5. NJAC 11.5. And the only reason why I tell everybody to write this down, whether you're doing on a book, notebook, or if you can write on a PDF. The only reason I'm telling you this is because later on they don't have the whole thing, New Jersey Administrative Code. No, they just say NJAC 11.5. So quick reference. All right. On the right-hand side, this book says that all the rules, regulations, and all that, they're in Appendix B at the end of the book. Look, it's totally up to you if you want to review everything and have all the legalese. To me, I don't think you need to pass the exam. You can read it later if you want. Throughout this whole book, we're going to go over everything that's in those statutes in a more common English or everyday language thing, okay? So if you guys want to know the legalese of it, go ahead. It's at the end of the book. But if not, just ride with me all the way to the end, and then at the end, you can dive into it, okay? Now, Real Estate Commission, right here. What is the Real Estate Commission? Well, the Real Estate Commission is the group that regulates us, let's say, okay? So New Jersey Real Estate Commission, as we said earlier, is a division of the Department of Banking and Insurance. It is composed of 8 members, and these 8 members are or have to be real estate brokers. Okay, 5 of them are real estate brokers. I'm sorry, I'm used to having the screen the other way, as Jonathan said right in the beginning. So I'm still getting used to this difference. Okay, so 8 members, right? And 5 of these have to be real estate brokers, and they must have been licensed for at least 10 years. So actively licensed for 10 years. Now, 2 are chosen from the general public, and 1 represents a department of the state government. Okay? So total of 8 members. 5, guys, I had that in green, so you got to know it. 5 of them are real estate brokers licensed as such for at least 10 years. 2 are chosen from the general public, so you could be, one of you could be part of this group if they chose you, right? And 1 represents the department of the state government. Now, one thing you need to know is that all these members serve 3-year terms. 3-year terms. That means every 3 years it could change, right? Except for the governmental member who serves at the pleasure of the governor. So 8 members, 5 brokers, 2 from the general public, and then 1 from the Department of State, represents the government. And again, they serve 3-year terms. Now we're going to get into licenses. Guys, let's go to the chat real quick. In the chat, before you read anything, in the chat, I want you guys to tell me what kind of licenses do you know for real estate? Okay? As a real estate agent, what licenses do you know? All right, we have commercial license, 521. Okay, commercial, residential, commercial. So there's no wrong answers, but wrong, okay? But there's no wrong answers. I'm just giving you a heads up. Crystal, all right, broker, salesperson, and referral is obsolete. I'll address that in a second. Commercial, residential, broker, salesperson. All right, guys, here's the thing. Guys, whatever chats settings you have, change it. Don't do private, please. It still shows here. Always do public. All right, guys, so here's the thing. There's 4 licenses. 4 licenses, okay? Now, officially, one of these licenses has ceased to exist. Now they put the burden on the broker, and I'll explain that in a second. But the first license that we have, the question was just to see where your knowledge is with this. But the first license that we have is the broker's license. Okay? Now, the broker's license. The broker is the one person that's responsible for the entire company. The one person responsible for the entire company. And I'm saying this because, look, I have a partner. We have our own real estate company as well. I have a partner. My partner is the broker, not me. All right? Why? Because even though there's 2 people responsible for the company, there's only 1 broker responsible for the agent. So he's the one that manages, he or she will be the one that manages the entire agency as far as agents. Technically, if I was not licensed or if I was not in a certain position, technically as a partner only, I cannot address the agents in terms of, for instance, discipline. Okay? The broker of record is the one that manages the agents and is responsible for the agent's actions. Okay? Very important you guys know this. I'm going to explain this several times. Also, you see right here, he's entitled to hire salespeople, and the most important part right here, which is charge the public for services. Only the broker can charge. We're going to repeat this a bunch of times. Now, can there be other brokers? Yes. But there's only one that's responsible for everyone, and that one is called the broker. Oh, sorry. This moved. My bad. It's called the broker of record. So every time you guys see broker by itself, as you see right here, see broker by itself, every time you see this, we're talking about the broker of record. Every time you see the word broker by itself, we're talking about broker of record. the second type of license that we have is the one that most of you are taking right now. Okay? And that is called a salesperson license. For you to perform sales, and this is either the sale of a house or the rental of a house, it's still involved in sales. For you to be able to do this and receive compensation, you must have a license. We said that in the previous page, right? Anyone who takes part in a real estate transaction for another person for a fee, commission, or other valuable consideration must have a license. And this is where everyone starts as a salesperson. I'm going to draw a little bit in a second how traditional organization will work, okay? Now, what I need you to see here in green is that the only person that can pay you is your broker. Very important. You can only receive compensation from the broker. And every action you take, everything you do is on behalf of the broker. Okay? Any questions so far? If you got questions, drop them in the chat right now. All right. Let's do this, because I see some of you, I don't know if you're typing or if you're taking notes. If you have a question from now on, what we're going to do is just put a question mark, and I'll wait for you to type the rest of the question, if you do, okay? This way I know that you're typing an actual question. All right, so I told you that there's more brokers in the real estate office, didn't I? Yes? Okay. So we have what I call a hybrid. What is a hybrid? Well, it's somebody that qualifies to become a broker, but still chooses to work under the supervision of another broker. So therefore, they are a broker by a license, but their status is still a salesperson. Does that make sense? All right. So these are the hybrids. It's called broker, salesperson. They have fulfilled all the requirements of a broker, but choose to work in the sales capacity for and in the name of another broker. Remember, if it's broker by itself, it's broker of record, the one responsible for everyone. If it's broker salesperson, then it will clearly state broker salesperson. Okay? And number 4. Okay. So until recently, and there's a new version of this book coming out. It's officially out, but it's still they still allow us to teach with the 13th edition until October. But I've been talking about this since the law came out. There's the referral agent license. Now, what is a referral agent license? Well, as the name says, you're able to refer business. The thing is, as a referral agent, that's pretty much the only thing you can do. All you can do is refer. You cannot participate in the sale. You cannot participate in the rental. You cannot prepare contracts. You cannot show houses. You cannot do anything regarding real estate. The only thing you can do is, hey, Carlos, I have a buyer. Could you please help him out? And then Carlos takes over, and if Carlos closes, I get paid something. But during that process, that's it. I cannot do anything at all. I'm blocked. As soon as I pass it along to Carlos, then it's Carlos's deal. And I get paid for referring. All right? So remember, anyone who takes part in the real estate transaction must have a license, right? If I expect to get paid from referring, then I'm part of the transaction. Therefore, I must have a license. You guys got it? Now, today, this is not called a referral license anymore. So it might show up in the exam already. I'm just giving you the heads up. Most places still talk about referral license, but the state exam will be updated officially, and it might already be updated when you get there. I'm just giving you a heads up. It's now a salesperson working with a referral company. So they pass the burden on to the broker. What happens now is the broker is required to have 2 agencies if we choose to have a referral agents, if we choose to hire referral agents. So the way it works is we have the broker, of record, right? And the broker of record can have underneath 3 different types of licenses. So this is the way it used to work before. Let me just show you the difference now. Okay, 3 different types of licenses. It's the salesperson, okay, the broker, salesperson, and the referral. So this was the traditional scenario. Now, what they've done, so you guys know, is they cut off this branch. They cut it off. So now the broker can have referral agents, but they're not under the same agency. See, we have now here, let me zoom in. We have now here, these people are working in the active agency. So that's these people that are underneath. They're in the active agency. While this is the referral company. So all I'm trying to say is that it's still one broker of record, but for 2 companies. One is the active sales, and that could be a salesperson or a broker salesperson, right? And the other one is the referral company, which is strictly for referral agents. So they separated. Let me just make this clearer just in case. So they separated the agencies. There's a referral company and there's an active sales company. So now you're called a salesperson, right? That's the difference. You're now called a salesperson. Who's working with a referral company. With a referral company. Okay? That's it. That's the difference. You're still, the only thing you can do still is just refer. They just eliminated the term referral agent and now force the brokers to have a referral company. That's all. All right, drop any questions you have, because I know you might have that question once you get to the state exam. Some of you might have been licensed before or are currently licensed in another state. So I just want to make sure you guys are okay with the info before I move forward. We're now down to 3 actual licenses. In the book still talks about 4. State exam, I still talk about the 4 licenses. I just want you to be aware that there's only 3 licenses, which is the broker, salesperson, and broker salesperson. And then if you're a referral agent, in the state exam might talk about referral license, or it might already talk about this referral salesperson working under a referral or working with a referral company. All right, no questions? Good. Day 1, nobody has questions. I know how it is. All right, so we're done with that. Now, very important. This will be, if not a state exam question, but it will be a requirement for the rest of your real estate salesperson life, which is all initial, renewed, and reinstated licenses are issued on a biennial term, which expires on June 30th of odd-numbered years. So what we're saying here is that your license must be renewed every 2 years. So there, when it says biennial, it means 2-year license. Okay? So it's a 2-year license. Biennial term, means it's a 2-year license. Every 2 years we must renew our license. Every 2 years we must renew our license. Okay. Now, what is every 2 years? If you get your license today, you must renew 2 years from now? No. Odd number years. What is odd numbered? That means this year I don't have to renew, but next year I have to, because we're in an even year, even though it's been an odd year, right? It's been a very weird year, but only next year I have to renew. So that will be in 2021, and then 2023, and then 2025, and so on. So every odd number year we have to renew a license. And that license must be renewed by June 30th, which I'll address better later on, okay? There's just a few statistics. These numbers have increased a little bit since 2017. But it says that in 2017, there was approximately 93,000 brokers, broker salespersons, salespersons, and referral agents. Now, I always have this question in every class. Do you guys think that there's a lot of competition with these numbers? Let me see in the chat what happens in your minds. Tell me, what do you think about this? There's 93,000 brokers in 2017, broker salespersons and salespersons, as well as referral agents. Okay? So, I have a no, 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 somebody yelling. No. Lots of competition. I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I'm spelling your name correctly before I mess up, because I tend to pick on people. So, Shady, that I said it right? Shady? Okay. It's a little shady. His last name is Sharif, so I'm just saying. You referred by Mac, right? Okay, so he warned you that I was going to pick on you, right? No? You should have seen the picture he sent to me. It's like, hey, be ready. You can pick on this guy. All right. So, competition. Some say yes, some say no. Here's the thing, guys. There's over 9 million people in the state of New Jersey. Over 9 million people. There's 93,000 agents altogether. We're talking about between brokers, broker salesperson, salesperson, and referrals. Do you think all these agents are active? Do you think all these agents are actually participating in the real estate market that we're in right now? Some of them gave up the first day they registered. I'm not saying that will happen to you, but it could. Everybody has their whys. That's why the book that I showed you earlier, Start With Why, is so important. Some people have their license active and then they let it expire. So it was active back then. It's no longer active. But then you're probably thinking as well, but not everybody buys either. All right, so let's do the ratio. Let's say that only 30% of the people are actually buying or renting. Everybody else is happy. Well, guess what? Only 30% of the agents are actually active doing something. 70% have done something, but only 30% of these numbers are actively participating. Do you guys understand? And I challenge you, go to any agency, go talk to them and ask them how many of their agents are actually performing. It's a difference between having active licenses and active agents. You guys got it? There's agencies out there with 100, 200, 300, 400 agents under their belt. How many are actively working? You guys got it? There's no competition whatsoever. None. Look, we got right now 40 people on the line. I know for you it might show 43, but let's not forget that Heather is taking 2 spots. So there's 40 people on the line. No competition yet at all. We just added 40 people to the 100,000 that are already licensed. You guys got it? Yes? Thumbs up? Good. Carlos is asking, all right, let me ask something. I need to know if it's Carlos Sr. or Carlos Jr., okay? You guys need to change your names. You got to put Junior or Senior. Senior is shaking his head. All right, so you want me to call you Steven, but your name says Carlos right there. So when I glance, I go for Carlos first. So Flavio wrote, amen, there's space for everyone. Absolutely. For Steven, so Junior, I'll call you Junior, that's what it is. So for Junior, why wouldn't they be active? Why do people do what they do? Why do people don't do what they do? I don't know. Like, my main focus is teaching. It's not the actual active real estate, okay? I let my broker and our agents do that. So I'm an active license, but I don't practice as much. Does that make sense? So everybody has their own reasoning behind it. Some, hey, I had this person, a student in the past, that she did activate her license, didn't do anything with it, and then she canceled the license. Why didn't she do anything with it, I asked? Because she got a job, meanwhile, and a job that paid her well, and hey, she decided to go that route versus the real estate. Everybody has to have a strong enough why to do something. For her, going back to work was her strong enough why. Does that make sense? For other people, their why is having independence. Some of you wrote, I want to have my own schedule. I want to make my own money. I don't want to have a boss tell me what to do. But the hardest part, I'll tell you right now, a lot of people that give up, oh, look, somebody answered that. The hardest thing about being an agent is getting up in the morning. Absolutely. Let me guess, senior? Absolutely. But that's what it is. Remember, you're going to be independent. So who's the boss? You are. And if your why is not strong enough, you'll never get out of bed. Okay? I know active agents that what they do is in the morning they go for breakfast at a cafe. And then they look at the time, oh, it's time for lunch. So now they go to the restaurant. Oh, they look at the time, now it's time for a snack. So now they go. And they spend their whole day just going around. Granted, they might be socializing. Granted, they might be getting new leads along the way. Depends on how you are. Some people just like the social life and they forget that every event is a way to get leads. Right? And you get to the end of the day with nothing. So, long answer for a short question, but that's what it is. Shady is asking, how would you work if you have a day job? You can work part-time. So guys, here's the beauty about this being independent and specifically this type of business. All right, is that there's different ways you can work. You have a full-time job in real estate. You can have a part-time job in real estate. You can have a sometime job in real estate. You can even have a no-time job in real estate. The cool thing is if you have no time, you can always refer. And you still get paid if we close. You got some time, then sometimes you do it, sometimes somebody else does it. Refer. Right? You want to do a part-time, do a part-time. You do full-time, do full-time. I have a crazy guy here in my office that what he did was find a way to break a toe in order to have 2 or 3 months off from work. He actually broke his toe. I'm just kidding. He didn't find a way. He actually broke it. The bed came towards him for some reason. So he had 2 or 3 months off, and that's how he was able to shift into full-time. Do you guys understand? So I'm not telling you to go out there and break toes or anything like that. Don't do that. It just happens. But some people need that extra push. They need to have the decision time. It's either this or that. But can you do part-time? Can you do sometime? Can you do no time? Absolutely. Haya, am I saying your name correctly? I see a ceiling. I don't see Haya. Oh, there you are. Okay. Okay, now I see your forehead. Great. So Haya, am I saying your name correct? Haya? Okay. So how you doing? Now, I'm sure you got a lot of these. So here's the thing. Do you have to do the 75 hours? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. You have to do what's called CE credits or continuous education. And it's only 12 hours. All right. So moving forward. The next thing I want to ask you guys real quick. And again, put it in the chat, please. Real quick. Who came here to get a realtor license? Write in the chat if you came to get your realtor's license. Let me know in the chat. Realtor license. Shady. Oh, Sarah. You're fired. Okay. Jonathan, you're fired as well. Shame, shame, shame. By the way, I'm just saying, I'm just saying they're fired because they're already students that completed the course. Okay, just saying. The question was, so for Flavio, and I'll address Crystal in a second. For Flavio, the question was, who came here to get a realtor's license? Who came to get a realtor's license? Love it. All right, I have some cameras off. Make sure you guys have your cameras on. I need to be able to record you guys and know that you're paying attention. Some of you have cameras off. Need them on. All right. Sarah says I wasn't ready. I wish I had that button here so I could play Kevin Hart right now. She wasn't ready. All right. So let me address the best answer ever. Crystal, right now, no offense, I'm in love with you. Where's the chat? Right there. Sorry. Look at this. Look at this answer. You guys see it right here? Oh, right there. No such animal. Love it. No such animal. Here's the thing, guys. To be a realtor, you don't get a license. To be a realtor, you have to be part of the National Association of Realtors. See, realtor is a registered trademark for this membership, for this union. Okay? It's like a membership to a gym. They have benefits by being part of it, including training, specific training. You guys understand? There's no realtor license. We just talked about licenses. We have the broker license, we have the salesperson license, and we have the broker-salesperson license. Did we ever mention the realtor license? All right. So this is for Jonathan and Sarah. Again, you guys are fired. Let's see. A little misunderstanding. That was Junior, I'm sure. Uh-huh. See, I already know. You can tell the difference. All right, guys. Moving forward. Once you get your license as a salesperson, then you'll become part of the National Association of Realtors if your broker is part of it. By now, the majority of brokers are part of it, and there's great benefits to it. Now, activities covered. It says right here, when the work is being performed for another person and you expect some type of fee or commission or compensation, then you need to have a broker's license. For what? Well, to list real estate for sale, the right-hand side on top if you're following the book. To sell, exchange, buy, auction, or rent real estate, to collect rent, to solicit prospective purchasers or sellers, to negotiate a real estate loan, to sell lots or other parcels for a developer, or even to sell business opportunities that involve real estate. Or, if you attempt to do any of the above, you need to be a broker. Okay? Let's figure out, most of you are going for the salesperson, so let's figure out what you guys can do. First of all, I want you to pay attention to how I highlight stuff. You see these gaps over here? Okay, very important. A salesperson license allows the holder, so you guys, to operate under the supervision of a licensed broker. To assist in. What you're doing, guys, is assisting your broker. So everything you do, as we said before, is under the supervision and guidance of your broker. To assist in. In what? Well, negotiating the purchase, sale, or exchange of real estate. Negotiating real estate loans. Leasing, renting and collecting rent, and selling lots or other parcels for a developer. So your list is way shorter, isn't it? I ask this in every class, and I'll keep on asking until I die, which is, out of these two, so between the broker's bullet points and the salesperson's bullet points, what do you think is missing? Like, when you guys came here, you knew that a salesperson did certain things that it might not be listed here, but they're listed on the broker's side. So let me show you again what we have on the broker side before you answer, okay? On the broker side, you have to be a broker to list real estate for sale. You have to be a broker to sell, exchange, buy, auction, or rent real estate, to collect rent, solicit prospective purchasers or sellers, negotiate real estate loans, sell other parcels for developer, lots or parcels for developer, and sell business opportunities. For a salesperson, this is what we can do. My question is, again, between one side and the other, is there something that's missing on your side right here that you thought you would do? Let me know in the chat. What's missing? Okay. So we have here sell, exchange, buy, auction, rent real estate. Okay, we do that by negotiating. That's what we had before. Sandra says listing. Linda says listing. Listing. Okay. So let me show you guys. Solicit prospective purchasers. We do that by negotiating the purchase, sale, and so on. But yes, you're on the right path. Those of you that are saying solicit, see, we do solicit on behalf of the broker. Remember, we do everything assisting the broker. So the negotiating of the purchase, sale, or exchange, we solicit these people, the seller or the buyer, to complete the sale, and we help them negotiate. What we don't do, okay, what we don't do is list real estate for sale. Why? And now you're thinking, but wait, I'm the one that knocks on the door, not the broker. I'm the one that talks to the seller, not the broker. Well, all the activities are performed on behalf of the broker. You are a salesperson for the broker. So let's think about it this way. If you go to a car dealer, who's selling you the car? Is it the dealer or the salesperson that's right there with you? It's the dealer. Does that make sense? So here's the same thing. When you list real estate for sale, it becomes the inventory of the brokerage. It's not your inventory, it's the brokerage inventory. You're the one that got the listing, so you'll be listed on the listing as a listing agent. Simple. But you are not the broker. The listing belongs to the brokerage only. You got it? So when you leave, let's say you don't like to work for Remax anymore, you're gonna work for Weichert. When you leave Remax, your listings stay behind with Remax, unless you have a different type of agreement with them. And we'll talk about your independent contractor agreement that you can negotiate. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But unless you have that, most standard contracts say listings belong to brokerage. Therefore, it's a Remax listing, you happen to be the listing agent. It's a Weichert listing, you happen to be the listing agent. It's a Century 21 listing, you happen to be the listing agent. You guys got it? Because what we do, let me go back to this because it's very important. What we do is, under the supervision of our broker, assist our broker. Okay? You got to remember this for the state exam. You cannot get into any contract with anybody directly. Your listing agreement and your purchase agreement says clearly on behalf of your broker. Okay? So clearly, you represent a brokerage. And that's why we're going to talk about this today and tomorrow. And that's why chapter 1, 2, and 3 are the crucial chapters for the state exam. Okay? And this is across the whole nation. Chapter 1, 2, and 3, we talk about how an agent participates in the real estate world. Okay? I'm giving you a heads up. Roughly 30% of the exam is chapter 1, 2, and 3. Roughly 30%. Just chapter 3, which is tomorrow's chapter, there's 22 questions. Okay? There's a total of 110. I'll get there before you guys ask. Hiya. I need to see your face whenever you can. At least just the forehead, so I know you're there. Who else is missing? Perla's gone. Mina Youssef. No, Mina Fauzi, I see you. Mina Youssef, I don't see your face. All right, good. Just got to make sure. Dennis is in the house. What's up, Dennis? All right, let's see. Linda Valera ran away. David, you're good. Yara, hi. Let's see who else. Rudy, nice picture, but I need to have your face whenever you can. Thank you. All right, cool. I do random checks, guys, so you know. I have to. Yeah, Flavio, I see you. You're good. Carlos is asking, we can say that we are the broker's clone? If you want to. I mean, I don't look anywhere near what my broker looks like. So, yeah, sure. But I know what you're saying. I prefer to say minions, even though it doesn't sound any better. I prefer to say minions. We're the ones that go out there and get all the business. That's why the broker, usually, traditionally, the broker gets a small piece of everything you do. Some brokerages might get half or even more, but that every brokerage has a different structure. The majority of the brokers, they understand you do the work, and they're there to supervise. So they take a small cut of whatever you do. All right? So let's see. Next thing, we got exemptions. So you guys are going to learn over the next couple of weeks that every rule has what? An exemption. Every rule has an exemption. And for real estate license, there's an exemption. It says real estate license is not required for owners handling their own property. So just like Moses wrote before in the chat earlier when I asked a question about needing to have a license or not, if their owners are selling their own property, then they're called unrepresented sellers, also commonly known as for sale by owner or FSBOs. For sale by owner or FSBOs. Okay? Now these people, they don't need a license because, again, why would you need a license when you're helping somebody else sell their home? If it's your own home, do you need a license? No. If you're helping somebody else, you need a license if you're getting paid. Now, look right here. These people are getting paid, but there's an exemption for them. Attorneys, executors, trustees, receivers, administrators, legal guardians, and others handling real estate under the order of a court. That means the judge said so. So the judge pointed out, hey, Nicole, you're going to be the administrator for this case. So you help this person or these people sell their real estate. I appoint you as the administrator and give you that power. Does that make sense? It's not something you guys are going to do on a daily. Okay? You guys got it? It's not something you're going to do on a daily. You were just appointed and you're taking advantage of that position to get paid. Now, if you decide to make this a daily thing, then you have to have a license. All right? Next thing it says is banks and trust companies and also insurance companies. Bank and trust companies and insurance companies. What I want to point out real quick is this. Companies. Okay? Why am I pointing out companies? Because in the state exam or the school exam, one of them, there might be a question where it says none of these need a license except, right? And one of the answers is insurance broker. Now, in your mind, our brain, the way it works, and yes, I'm going to teach you how brains work, and I'm going to teach you how to pass the exam. But in our mind, the way our brain works, immediately, we're going to see broker. Well, broker's already licensed, so they don't need to get a license. Therefore, this is not the answer. All right? But if you're an insurance broker, like I handle insurance as well. Okay? I handle property and casualty, life and health. I do all kinds of insurance. Can I be in the real estate world as well if I have that license? No. I had to get my real estate license as well. You guys understand? So don't get fooled by seeing the word broker. Insurance companies are exempt. Banks and trust companies are exempt. Okay? But the insurance broker is not exempt. You guys got it? I'm going to give you a bunch of pointers of how the exam works as well. Next, it says attorneys are exempt while handling real estate in their normal practice of law. Again, if there's a divorce or if there's a probate or something like that, they might be able to help somebody buy or sell, but they cannot make it a daily activity. So we'll go back to what we were saying up here, right? Once they make it a daily activity, then they must obtain a real estate license. Okay? Heather, you're running away? All right. The next part, and I think in every class I say this because it's very important. It's the only part that matters. You guys can close the book and we're done with a whole 4-week session after this, right? Because payment for service is the only reason why you guys are here. That's what I saw in the chat earlier. We're only here to make money. Some of you actually said, I'm here to help others achieve their goals, and that's great, and getting paid in the process. But the majority of you said, I want money. So this is the only thing that matters. So understand, this is guaranteed exam question. Now, it won't be worded like this, obviously, but you need to know that if you want to collect a commission, if you want to get paid, then you must be licensed at the time that the service is performed. So let's say it's June 30th of 2021, and you still do not renew your license. Tomorrow is the closing of the deal you've been working on so hardly, right? Now, the question is, do you get paid tomorrow at closing? The answer is no, because you did not renew your license. Because you did not renew your license is now inactive automatically. Being inactive automatically, your broker is very happy. You know why? Because your broker doesn't have to split commission. He keeps the whole thing. Okay? It's different than moving to a different agency. We're going to talk about that as well. When you move to a different agency, they might give you still some money depending on how your contract is prepared. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But if your license becomes inactive, then by law they cannot pay you. So guess who keeps the money? The broker. You guys got it? Carlos Senior is like, yep, I know that. Listen, it depends on the brokers you guys have. Some will hold on to the money and say, hey, listen, you did the whole work. Go ahead, reinstate your license. I got you. Others, you're going to get everything. I'll let you know right now. You're going to get everything. All types of salespeople, all types of brokers, all types of buyers, all types of sellers. So all I'm saying is keep your license active. Very, very important. Okay? Let's see what we got here in the chat real quick. Daphne, once this course is finished, when can we go for the state exam? I'll address that in a second. Okay? Shady, can you activate it, then get that money? Well, I think I already addressed that. Depends on your broker. See, the broker is very powerful, right? The broker collects the money, and he's the only one entitled to collect the money. What they do with the money after is up to the broker, okay? So you were active when you performed the service, when you did the whole work. It's up to the broker if they want to give you something or not, all right? They cannot give you money if you're inactive. That I can tell you right now, okay? Crystal, do I need to be a New Jersey resident to get a New Jersey license? I'll address that in a second as well, okay? All right. All right, so right here, the next thing we have, I think I just said this. It is illegal for anyone to share in any portion of a commission without a real estate license. So can you get paid without a license? N-O. Absolutely no. All right? A broker may share commission only with his or her associated salespersons and referral agents, or with another broker in the event of a cooperative listing or referral, including a broker who is licensed in another state. So I want to address this real quick because there might be a question in the state exam. I don't have it highlighted here because we'll address it later a little bit better. But it might say, let's say a broker can share commission with, and then gives you 4 options. One of them will be any active salesperson. Now, from what I just read up here, right, you need to have an active license, correct, in order to get paid. But can a broker pay any active salesperson? And the answer is no. The broker can only pay his associates or pay another broker. Brokers can share commission. So let's say, Chad, you're working for ERA, right? And I work obviously for New Direction. Sorry, New Direction right here. So here's what's going to happen. We close a deal. You brought the buyer. I had the listing, right? So I have the seller. Then my broker is going to get paid. My broker will pay your ERA broker. And then whatever commission split you guys have is between you and your broker. So my broker will pay yours. And then yours cuts a check to you based on whatever your commission is. Now my broker, on his percentage, which could be half and half, we don't know, but on his percentage, he's going to give me a cut for being the listing agent. Do you guys understand how it works? So the question is, can you pay any licensed salesperson if you are the broker? The answer is no. You can only pay your associated salespersons, broker salespersons, or even referral agents. Or you can pay another broker, okay? If it's a cooperative listing. So that's what happened right now. When Chad brought a buyer, this is called a cooperative listing, okay? I cooperated with him in order to get it sold. Daphne is asking me to repeat. Okay. What I was saying is very simple, okay? You're going to have a broker. So Daphne, oh, you got it? Okay. So I don't have to explain again? Fine, I won't. All right. So everybody got it, right? Great. Sarah, you're banging your head. I just want to make sure you got it. You're good? Okay, all right. She was like, please get in my head. Please get in my head. I need to pass the exam. All right. So I want you guys to notice right here in this line, it says, including a broker who's licensed in another state. I don't know if you guys are in a different state or not. Some of you might be, and you're taking the New Jersey license. I guess that's why Crystal was asking the question as well, and I'll address it later better. But what I want to show you here is you can work with different states and you don't have to have a license there. I have a license in New Jersey only, okay? Can I do business in California? I personally cannot, but I can refer to a California broker or salesperson and they pay me a referral fee. So we go back to the referrals. Now, do they pay me directly? You guys already know by now that no, they have to pay the broker, my broker, directly, and the broker splits with me. So do I have to have a license in that state? The answer is no. And all the states have a similar rule to this. All I have to do is refer to somebody. Now, what would be the benefit of having a license in different states? Well, I have a couple of students, now agents, that what they do is they live half of the year or 3/4 of the year in a different state or here. Does that make sense? So at that point, yeah, have a license there. If you're going to spend the majority of your time there, why would you give commission to somebody else when you can do it yourself? You guys got it? So other than that, I don't have a New York license, and it's right next door. I'm like 15 minutes away from New York. I don't have one. And oh, but Bruno, the commissions there are way bigger. Like one commission pays the whole year. It could absolutely. But if I don't get it sold, or if I don't have a buyer, right, then I wasted a lot of time getting in and out of New York, and I might have lost a chance because of traffic to deal with a client here. Does that make sense? So I'm going to talk about this several times throughout this course as well, for you to get familiar with a market, be the best in your market, and everything else try to refer. Because you want to be as central as possible to all your clients. You want to be known for let's say I want somebody to think of Newark, think of me. Does that make sense? Maybe Linden, think of you, Brian. Maybe, I don't know if you're in Linden, I'm just saying. Maybe Daphne, maybe you're in Atlantic City and I want them to think of you if they're thinking about buying in Atlantic City or selling. Does that make sense? Everything else, guys, that's how I started today talking about referrals and affiliate programs. Everything else is referrals. Don't waste your time driving everywhere. To me, it doesn't make sense. In the beginning, you guys probably going to grab the whole New Jersey, like top to bottom, right? And then quickly you're going to realize I'm driving everywhere and going nowhere, right? So that happens a lot. You have to be very efficient with what you do, and it's not easy for everybody. So try to get a market. Focus on a market. Now, we've been saying that you cannot get paid if you don't have a license. So if somebody refers business, they cannot get paid, right? But every rule has an exemption, or what we call exception in this case. See, in early 2010, after a new law went into effect, so this is a 2009 law, but went into effect in 2010, right? It says that a selling broker is allowed to rebate part of the commission to the buyer in the form of either a credit or a check. So what I want to point out here so you guys understand is that a selling broker is a buyer's broker. So there's two different kinds of brokers. There's the listing broker, and this is the one that obviously works with a seller. And the reason why I point this out is a lot of people get confused. There's the listing broker. That's the one that advertises the product. And then there's the selling broker, the one that's able to bring a buyer that wants to buy the house. He is the one, or she's the one, that was able to complete the sale. Therefore, they're the ones that sold it. You got it? So selling broker deals with a buyer. Listing broker deals with a seller. In this case, we're saying that if you are the buyer's broker, you represent the buyer, and you want to give part of your commission to the buyer as a rebate or a credit at closing, you can. The listing broker cannot give any money to the seller, but whoever represents the buyer can give some money to the buyer in the form of a credit or a check. So it's not like, hey, from my pocket, here's some money. No, it's at closing, you pay less, you get less commission, and they get credits towards their closing costs. Hi, do you still need me to repeat, or you got it? I cannot see you, so I don't know if you're saying yes or no. Yes, you want me to repeat? Okay, great. So what I was saying is right here, it says that we cannot pay anybody, but in early 2010, a law allows a selling broker, so somebody representing the buyer, to give money to the buyer in the form of a credit or a check. So let's say that you go to the closing table. So just so you guys are aware, rebates are supposed to be announced in the beginning. But I'm giving you another idea of how this could happen. We get to the closing table, and the buyer is short, let's say, $1,500. Your commission is about to be 10 grand, let's say. $10,000 commission. You're going to let the deal not close because of $1,500? Let me know, guys. What would you do? Let's see what people say. You're about to get $10,000 commission. $10,000 commission. The buyer is short $1,500. Would you let the deal fall through, or would you help close? Always be closing. ABC. Absolutely. All right, close. All right. So it appears that everybody is an understanding here that for $1,500, right? For $1,500, you're not going to let the deal die. Now, understand, it's not your commission, it's your broker's commission. Therefore, you have to call your broker and make sure that it's okay. Never forget that. It's not your commission. What your broker might say is, hey, I don't mind doing it. It's just coming out of your commission. So at that point, it'll come out of your split. It depends on your broker. You guys got it? So can we help somebody close if they're that short in in the money? Yes. Okay, but some brokerages, they're actually advertise themselves as rebate brokerages, meaning, hey, come with us and you get a point back at closing. So you get 1% back of commission at closing. Like, if your broker plays that game and you like it, go ahead. I'm not a very big fan of giving money that's not needed. So, I mean, thus where we are right now in the economy, right? Money's being given to people that don't even need it. So if you really need it, if you're really short at the closing table, great, I'll help you. Other than that, I don't believe in advertising as a discount broker. But to each his own. Now I'm not sure if it's senior or if it's junior, but I'll go for senior. Help close and take one kid as collateral. That was senior, Carlos. Did you guys see that? Help close and take one kid as collateral. And that's how junior came to the table. All right. Anyway. All right, guys. Next. We're on page 3 right now. And we already talked about this. Finder's fees. And Shady just ran away from this portion. Finder's fees. This is money or gifts to unlicensed people, right, who refer buyers or sellers. Shady, you're back. This is forbidden, okay? Finder's fees, forbidden. You cannot give money to somebody that's not licensed. A lot of people advertise, hey, listen, find me a deal, right? Find me a buyer, find me a seller, find me whatever, and I'll give you some money. Unless they're licensed, or the trick is they're part of the deal, unless they're licensed or they're part of the deal, they cannot get paid. Okay, when I say part of the deal, their name must be in the contract somehow. You guys got it? So otherwise it's illegal. Next we have unlicensed assistants. Now every office usually has an assistant. They could be licensed or unlicensed. But if they're unlicensed assistants, then they are not allowed to perform activities that require a license, obviously. Now, in general, the prohibited activities are those involving contact with clients or customers. So here's what they cannot do, guys. Very important. An unlicensed assistant may not show property, answer any questions about listed property, make cold calls by phone or in person seeking business from potential listers, purchasers, tenants, or landlords, discuss or explain a contract with any other any other real estate document with anyone outside the brokerage firm. They cannot make telephone calls for rent collection or except when accompanying a licensee. Meaning, if you're not with me that I'm licensed, then you cannot perform these things. If you're with me, then it's okay. For instance, host an open house, promotional booths, distribute promotional material, or even attend a home inspection. And I ask the same question in every class because it's very important. What is so wrong about letting your assistant do an open house by him or herself? It's an open house. People walk in, people walk out. They're just looking at the house. If they like it, they talk to the agent. If they don't like it, they walk away. What about inspections or distributing promotional material? What is so wrong about that? Why can't your assistant do it? Hit me up in the chat real quick. Why can't your assistant do the open house by him or herself, or provide promotional material by him or herself? Gary says misinformation. Nicole says, again, misinformation. Heather says the same. Are you guys just copying and pasting the word misinformation? That's what it is. All right, Crystals, you're very technical. It could be construed as selling activities. Lou says they can't sue. Yes, they can. Actually, yes, they can. The problem is they're suing the unlicensed person and the licensed person. But what else? Anybody else? There's no legality. They are not legally allowed to. And I think there's something else coming. Or that was it. All right, I'll address it real quick. Here's the thing. Your assistant, I'll be honest about you, assistants usually know more about the deal than you do. Because your job is to be a salesperson, right? So your job is to be out there and getting more buyers, getting more sellers, and just keep it rolling. So rinse and repeat. Your assistant handles the paperwork. So they know the reason why the seller is selling. They know the reason why the buyer is buying. They know how much money the seller needs, how much money the buyer has. Does that make sense? So if there's any misinformation or information given, as we're going to learn tomorrow, that should not be given, then you are the one liable. You and your broker are the ones liable for any information that's given by the unlicensed assistant. Okay? And yes, it could be construed as selling activities. So here's the thing. Let's imagine somebody walks into an open house and it's a beautiful house. What do you think is the first question? Hit me up in the chat. What do you think is the first question that the buyer is going to ask after seeing an amazing house that they really love? What is the first question they would ask? Besides price. Right here, Shady. The price usually is referenced there in the open house. But the question is usually, why are they selling? Why are they selling? Is there anything wrong with it? Absolutely. How long has it been on the market? These are valid questions. But the majority of the times, the first question is, such a nice house, why are they selling? Okay? So, Flavio says, how many bedrooms? You just walked through the open house, man. You just went to see the house. But I grant, you know what? Let's talk about Flavio's question real quick. That's actually a valid question. I've seen listings that talk about 8 bedrooms when there's only 6. Guys, you need to understand that basements don't count as bedrooms. So if you have 2 rooms in the bottom, they are rooms. They're not bedrooms. You got it? So I agree with this question. Let me just confirm that there are only 6 bedrooms. All right. But the majority of the times the question is, why is it being sold? And if your unlicensed assistant says, well, yeah, it's such a nice, I wish I could buy it, but I can't. But I heard they're going through a nasty divorce, and that's the reason why they're selling. What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know your honest opinion. Your assistant just told the buyer that the reason, or a potential buyer, that the reason why they're selling that nice house is because they're going through a divorce. Boom. Yep. Lower offer. They need to sell it fast. And yes, Crystal, confidentiality has been broken unless the seller said, hey, please, whatever it takes, right? Unless they said that. But yes, they're going to have lower offers, right? And they need to sell it fast. So as an investor, what would I do? Knock down the price, lowball offer. That's what I would do. Now, your assistant and you and your broker, 3 people right now, are liable for that difference. You guys got it? 3 people are liable for that difference. Your broker is liable because, you know what? He's the one, he or she is the one responsible for everybody in the agency. So if you screw up, the broker screws up, right? Almost like being a leader, right? It has to be your fault because you're the one that let it happen. Does that make sense, guys? And then as far as the assistant, well, you allowed your assistant to do it. So they get sued. They just don't have a license to lose, but they get sued in the process for disclosing information. All right? You guys good with this? Give me a thumbs up if you're good so far. Great. Awesome. All right. Now, unlicensed assistants, we're still here. Now we're going to talk about what they can do and how powerful an assistant can be. Before that, is there any real estate assistant here? Let me see if anybody here is a real estate assistant. Raise your hand if you are one. Keep your hand up so I can see it, okay? Well, Gary, you don't count. You're assistant by default, right? That's it. Your mom wouldn't have it any other way. All right. So, assistants, my business partner, my broker just says me. He sent me a message separately. He says me. As far as I remember, it's not like that, Pedro. Anyway, so assistants are very, very powerful. Why? Look right here. They can answer phones and forward calls. They can process and submit listings and changes to the multiple listing systems. They can place signs on properties, pick up keys, and deliver documents. They can schedule appointments for showing listed property, set up files, track and secure documents, and so on, blah, 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 right? So a lot of stuff that you can avoid, administrative stuff that you can avoid, right? They can even have keys made for company listings. They can write and place ads, type contract forms, order inspections, prepare flyers and promotional materials. And guys, when I'm talking about, that's exactly what you do, Gary. Oh, Crystal, that's why you know all this stuff. You used to be an assistant. There you go. And when I'm talking about assistants, look, it doesn't have to be the same person. An assistant could be a freelancer for that particular job. They did marketing for you, for instance. It could be somebody that you pay a salary, totally up to you. All right? But these are things that unlicensed assistants can do. If you guys notice, none of these things, including keeping records of and deposit monies, follow up on all applications, or even compute the commission checks, none of these things have to do with the client. So as long as your assistant and the client don't talk about anything that's related to the deal, there should be no problem. You guys understand? I understand at one point picking up keys, placing signs, scheduling appointments. At one point they're talking to your clients. But as long as they're not talking about the deal, as long as they're not talking about the transaction, then it's okay. You guys got it? All right. Peter is saying, does the broker approve and pay unlicensed assistant? All right, Peter, here's the thing. Some brokerages have that as their model. Like they have in their model a transaction coordinator for you, inbound sales agent for you. They have somebody that does web pages, that they do online marketing for you. Some of them already have it, and they charge you a fee somehow. All right. Others say, hey, you can get your own at your own cost. So there's two things here. And you have to see, when you go interview brokers, you have to see what you're prepared for. Are you prepared to pay fees, but reap the benefits from it, of like having already this structure for you? And by the way, some of them have fees, and no structure. Okay? So that's totally up to you. Or would you like to pay for your own, and then if you ever leave that office for any reason, it's your assistants. They come with you. So, do you see what I'm saying, Peter? So it depends. Like some brokerages do, and they help you. Others, get your own. You guys got it? Good. Next, license qualifications. To become a licensed salesperson, guys, if you don't meet these qualifications, you're going to have to leave, okay? So to become a salesperson, you must be 18 years of age or older. You have to prove a high school education or its equivalent. You need to furnish evidence of good moral character. On top, you need to successfully complete this course, 75-hour course. You need to disclose your social security number for child support enforcement purposes. You need to provide documentation of citizenship or legal residence in the United States. Here's the good news on this one. If you have your employment authorization, you can already take the course and participate in real estate transactions. You don't have to have a green card yet, as long as you have the Social Security and employment authorization, you should be good to go. You need to pass a state examination, and most important, guys, right here, most important, you need to be sponsored by a licensed real estate broker to do what? Activate your license. Why is this so important? I'll tell you why. Because with an without a broker that sponsors you to activate the license, as soon as you pass the state exam, they give you a report that says, it's called a score report. And it says, congratulations, you passed. But it doesn't make you money. For you to make the money, you need to activate your license. And for you to activate your license, you need to have a broker. You guys understand that? So that's why I say this is the most important thing. And that's why I tell you right now that now is the time to start interviewing brokers. Okay? Go out there and start interviewing brokers, because as soon as you're past the state exam, you don't want to wait a year to get your license activated. You want to activate immediately. All right? And I'm letting you know right now, once you submit the paperwork, it could take 2-3 weeks. It could take even more. Depends on how much of a criminal you are, because they'll run your background check. You could take, see, Shady's smiling already. Come on, man. Don't do that, because that's easy for me. But it depends on your background, right? Me, I took a month and a half. I'm letting you know right now. I took a month and a half to get my license active. My business partner took 5 days to get his license active. I was more of a criminal than he was. So I just made a mistake. And the same mistake that I'm telling you guys right now not to do, which is get your fingerprints done now. Get everything ready, line up, so the broker and everything, so that when you pass the state exam, you run to your broker with the $160 I'm going to talk about in a second to the state treasurer, and they send immediately to activate. And then, hey, it could be 5 days, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 3 weeks, but at least all the information is already lined up. You guys got it? Don't do like some people did. I have some of my students, I'm not going to say that I'm proud of it, it does happen, but I had some of my students waited until last minute, and then they want to activate their license, and I'm like, yeah, but it's gone. You can call the real estate commission and try, but it's gone. See, 1 year is the time you have to activate. We're going to talk about that in a second. But 1 year goes by really fast. And I can guarantee you guys, every single person here, I can guarantee that if you looked at last year and you looked at this year, it was a blink of an eye and boom, here we are. 1 year goes by really, really fast. So when should you activate your license? Immediately. You got it? So I have a question here. All right, 1, 2, 3 questions. From Perla, how difficult is it to find the right broker? Very. Very difficult. Because what I think a right broker would be for me might not be the right broker for you. So you have to interview. Like I said before, are you willing to pay fees? Are you willing to get the training? What are you willing to do? Are you willing to travel? It all depends on what you're willing to do. You might be a fit for our company. Our company might not be a fit for you. Does that make sense? So the easiest way is to actually talk to different brokerages within the market you want to be in and figure out what they have to offer and which one fits you best. Now, every broker, like me, and by the way, I'm not recruiting. This is not a recruiting school. We do have our own realty office, but this is not a recruiting school. If you're referred by an agency, so this is the disclosure. If you're referred by a different agency, that's where you go back to. But what I'm trying to say here is, if you ask me, hey, Bruno, can we go interview? Of course, because every broker wants agents. Remember, every brokerage makes a small cut of all your performance. So it only makes sense that they'll want to interview you. Does that make sense? Does that mean that I'm the broker, our brokerage is the best for you? No. I think so because I'm going to show you in a little bit, being that it's my agency, even as a salesperson, my agency is the best. You go to Weicker, then Weicker will say they're the best, and Remax will say they're the best. Everybody is the best. But you as an agent need to know what is the best for you and what is the best for your type of life and what type of structure that you're looking for. Okay? Do you guys understand? Very important. Just make sure you interview with different brokers. Sabrina, does a sponsor have to be in-state real estate broker? Absolutely. If you want to have, Sabrina, if you want to have a New Jersey license, you need to have a New Jersey licensed broker. Yes. Perla, is there a list of brokers we can look at? Look, when you go online to the Real Estate Commission, it'll show different brokers. You just search there for agencies and it shows a bunch of them. What I really focus on is getting something in your area first. It doesn't have to be in your area, but I would definitely look at somebody that's prominent in your area. And then just call them up and say you want to interview. Simple. Okay? Now you just said, do we call brokers and tell them we're getting our license and we'd like to interview? Let me address that real quick. A lot of you are going to hold back on calling them because you're not licensed yet. All right? What I would do is you call the agencies, every agency that you want, right? Different agencies, and you say, hey, I'm thinking about a real estate career. Some of them might ask you, are you ready taking classes or not? But just say you're thinking about it. Don't commit yourself to, I'm taking a course and I'm coming to work for you next month. Don't do that. You know why? Because the biggest pressure people have is, what if I don't pass? And I expose myself to a broker, and then it's going to take me 6 months, a year to pass, whatever. You know, just say that you're thinking about it. What do you have to offer, Mr. Broker or Mrs. Broker? What do you have to offer? And go that way. And once you find the right broker, you keep that number in your pocket. You pass the state exam, run to that broker, activate. Simple. You guys got it? You don't have to say you're taking the course. You don't have to say that you're getting your license. You don't have to say anything. Just say you're thinking about getting into real estate and let them know what they have to offer you. All right? Any further questions? Or are we good? Awesome. All right, next. The applicant for a broker's license must be, so if you want to become a broker, you must be 18 years of age or older. You have to prove the equivalent of a high school education, as we said before. Furnish evidence of good moral character, as well as we said before for the salesperson. And the biggest difference is these right here. You must have served at least 3 years full-time as a licensed salesperson. And I'm going to talk about full-time in a second. You have to have completed at least 150 hours of study. And this consists of 90-hour general broker pre-licensing course, 30-hour pre-licensing course on broker's ethics and agency law and relationships, and also 30-hour pre-licensing course on office management and related topics. So my question to you guys is very simple. How many hours do you need to become a broker? Let me know in the chat. How many hours do you need to become a broker? All right, Crystal got 225. Nicole says 150 plus 65. 75, nice correction, okay. Anna says 150. Moses says 150 plus 3 years as a salesperson. Anthony 270. All right. Anthony, where'd you get 270 from? Daphne says 150, 150, 150. Sandra says 150. Geraldine goes for 360 hours. We're not in Texas. But that was a good one. All right, 300 hours. We're getting a lot. Guys, you're exhausting me already. Aren't you exhausted already putting all these hours there? Carlos, 240. Okay. Let's see. Still missing a few. Participate, guys. All right. We have 150 from Chad. Highest says 225. All right. Let me know if I'm saying your name correct. Abanub. Where's that? Where is it? It's good? Okay. Janice from YouTube Live. She says 225. Hi, Janice. All right, guys. Ready? So while you guys are still typing, hey, Abanub, question. I said it right? Abanub? Okay, great. Just want to say something. It sounds like somebody's about to run down to WWE right now. You guys ever heard that one, Abanub? You know what I'm talking about? All right, I'll play it tomorrow for you guys. I'll find it and I'll play it for you guys. It's like the old days. Maybe that's why. All right, I think I got it. Nobody else? So here we go, guys. Ready? You need 225 hours. 225 hours. And I'll tell you why. Because my question was, and I'm gonna show you along the way how the state exam tricks you. Okay? You need 150 hours to become a broker, but that's if you're already a salesperson. See, these are additional 150. My question to you guys was, how many hours do you need to become a broker? So it was a generic question. If I asked you guys, hey, John the salesperson wants to become a broker. Besides the 3 years full-time experience, he also needs, and then 4 answers. One of those would be 150 hours. So in the state exam, if they qualify you already as a salesperson, then how many hours you need? 150. If the question does not talk about you already being licensed, how many hours you need? 225. Does that make sense? Because it's the original 75 you guys doing right now, and then 3 years later, another 150 hours. You guys got it? I'm going to trick you as many times as I can, get you ready for that fight, because the state exam is tricky. Okay? Next thing we got is the referral agent license. Now remember, we don't have a referral agent license anymore. We have a salesperson who's working in a referral company, right? But the requirements are the same. Look what it says. You still have to fulfill all the requirements of a salesperson or broker's license, including the state examination. But then right here, you must submit a certificate, right? Stating that the legal restrictions on the brokerage activity of a referral agent have been reviewed with a supervising broker. So what we're saying is very simple. Not only do you have to do the 75 hours you're doing right now, but you also have to get a certification by your broker that says he or she explained to you. No preparing contracts, no showing houses, no talking about real estate, period. You know a buyer? Bring him. You know a seller? Bring him. You know a landlord? Bring him. And shut up. That's it. Does that make sense? So aside from taking the same course, you have to sign the certification agreeing that you will not engage in any activities that requires an active license. You guys got it? There'll be potentially a question. That's why it's in yellow. But active license. Could you change status? Because you bounce back and forth. The answer is yes. There's a $50 fee to change status. Just remember one thing. If you haven't done your CE credits, right? Because I have some people that ask me this question. If you haven't done your CE credits, your continuous education, there might be additional fees. Okay? So $50 is to change the status. But there might be additional fees. Now, exceptions. As I said before, there's always exceptions. And the experience requirement, guys, it says right here, experience requirements. This is the 3-year full-time experience. The experience requirement, or the 3-year full-time experience for a broker's or broker salesperson license can be waived. It's not guaranteed that it will be waived, but it could be waived. In fact, every time you see the word can or may be, remember, it's not guaranteed. So don't shoot for the yes answer or the no answer without understanding what the question is, because it says it could be waived, not guaranteed. For who? For an honorably discharged war veteran with a service-connected wound or disability. So if you are a veteran, could you bypass the whole 3 years? Yes, you could. Not guaranteed, because you have to apply to the Real Estate Commission. If your 3 years are waived and you can become a broker tomorrow, the fees are also waived. So that means you'll never pay fees for renewals. Okay? But this is only for veterans that were honorably discharged and due to a service-connected wound or disability. All right. Peter, I'll address that question about selling a house that's not your broker's. I'll address that question later. Luz, if a broker needs 3 years experience, why would they have a question that they need the 225? The 225 hours is class time hours. The experience is 3 years as a full-time. It's different. Okay? On top of the 3 years, you still need to go back to class. That's what it is. Now, here's another one. There's another waiver. All right? Moses, we talked about this the other day. The commission may, it's not guaranteed, they may agree to waive the education requirements for a licensed broker from another state. Now, could you do less hours? Yes, if you get the approval from the Real Estate Commission. Could you bypass a few of these and go straight to the exam? Sure, if the Real Estate Commission allows it. It's not up to me, the agency. It's about the Real Estate Commission, okay? Next, if you're previously licensed as a New Jersey broker within the past 5 years, could you bypass a few of these? Sure. Real Estate Commission needs to approve. Someone who has taken equivalent real estate courses in college, sure, if the Real Estate Commission approves. New Jersey attorneys, sure, if the Real Estate Commission approves. In some cases, even certain applicants who took equivalent pre-licensing course in another state. So, addressing this one right now, I have a student of mine that moved to Texas. They don't want to recognize the course that she just did in Jersey. So, I've spoken to them, and they still don't want to recognize New Jersey. We're going to talk about this in a little bit. There's no reciprocity, so they don't have to recognize. Okay? So reciprocity means other states acknowledging that you're licensed here or that you've done something here. You guys got it? So these are some of the reasons why you might be able to knock down a few of the hours. Now, as far as criminals, let's address criminals real quick. It says right here, no license will be issued to anyone convicted within the preceding 5 years. It's not indicted, okay? It's not arrested. It's convicted, meaning you're guilty of the crime. That's how the judge saw you. So if you're convicted in the past 5 years, if you're convicted of forgery, burglary, robbery, any theft other than shoplifting, because we all know shoplifting is okay, that's not a problem, right? Criminal conspiracy to defraud or any like offense, then you are not able to get the license. But if it's been 5 years and 1 day, then you're able to get your license, okay? So I always talk about this as being a second chance program because a lot of jobs will not give you a position if you have some type of criminal background. They don't even question what it is because they can't. But here, you might be able to get back on your feet. So if you know anybody that's going through tough times because they were young, dumb, and stupid, that's how we write it to the Real Estate Commission, because I was young, dumb, and stupid, right? Then you might be able to help somebody get back on their feet and have a better life. So this is just to let you guys know, okay? Shady, you're taking serious notes there, man. I knew it. I didn't want to put it out like that, but I knew it. Especially being referred by Mac, I know. All right. Next. You're clean? It's been more than 5 years? Okay, cool. All right. Next, right here. New Jersey does not recognize licenses issued in any other state. As I said, guys, New Jersey, there's no reciprocity. See, we don't like them and they don't like us. That's how it is. So if you take a New York license, you have immediate reciprocity with 13 other states, right? Jump over Jersey, you can get PA. Jersey says, nope, we don't like the people on our left, we don't like the people on our right, north or south. We are totally independent and our rules are our rules. So no reciprocity. If you're coming from a different state, could you have a license in New Jersey? Yes, but you have to go through the whole course. Okay, so this is addressing, I think Crystal, you had the question before. I'm going to go even more in detail in a second. But no reciprocity, no immediate, hey, I'm just applying for it and getting licensed. No. Next, required experience. So again, experience, we're talking about the 3 years. Okay, so this is the 3-year mark for broker's license, okay? So the 3-year experience to become a broker, a candidate, right, must have been continuously employed on a full-time basis, as a real estate salesperson during the 3 years immediately preceding the application. So it's not like you were a full-time agent 10 years ago. No, you were a full-time agent in the past 3 years. Okay? You guys got it so far? What does full-time mean? Well, full-time means that you worked at least 40 hours per week, but in the hours of approximately 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. And during that time, you were not employed elsewhere except guaranteed state exam question. Except on a part-time basis for no more than 25 hours a week. See, the Real Estate Commission knows you have to pay your bills. So if you have a part-time when you start this business, as long as it's no more than 25 hours a week, then your 3-year mark starts today. Does that make sense? Today from license. Let's say you got licensed today. You guys got it? Hey, Nicole, you paid for 1 student, not 2. What's going on there? Always butting in. I see how it is. She's going to help you, Monica? All right, cool. I always have somebody. Like, I had Jonathan had cats coming in. I had somebody else has the babies always showing up. You paid for 1. I'm going to charge you guys more. I'm telling you right now. Oh, now we have a dog. So that's 3 of you over there. All right. Now, I have a question. Who's going to show, or how are you going to prove that you had, Crystal says, we promise they won't learn anything. Still, information is being given. All right. Sarah says, full-time 3 years, but part-time no more than 25 hours a week. So let me address that real quick in a different way. Who's going to prove, or how are you going to prove that you had the three years full-time? There's no time clock. There's no biometrics for you to scan in or scan out. There's no app that says start work, stop work, right? So who's going to help you get that certification going? Your broker, absolutely. So your broker is going to have to vouch for you that you do have experience right here, that you do have experience in listing, leasing, selling, and all that stuff within the 3 years. Now, Sarah, Luz just gave a great answer. Absolutely. Pedro will. Absolutely. All right. Now, as far as Sarah, you wrote the 3 years, full-time 3 years. That's full-time as an agent. Okay? What they deem full-time is that you work during normal business hours, right? But they understand, like I said, that you have to pay your bills, so they allow you to have a part-time job while you're doing your full-time agent work. All right? So could you have a part-time job, like a morning job, and then you're a realtor in the afternoon and evening? Right? Could you work in between, let's say you're doing a Lyft or you're doing Uber or something like that, and you work in between, as long as it's part-time, then the real estate commission will look at you as full-time in the real estate world. Now, obviously, like I asked a few minutes ago, your broker is still going to have to vouch for you that to the best of their knowledge, you did not have any other type of work for more than 25 hours a week. You guys got it? Oh, Luis Pedro says he liked that. He's just got the... I get all these random messages, guys. I have like all my screens here. Like there's a bunch of screens and then bunch of chats. And then Luz just sent a message to Pedro directly. There you go. All right, guys. So time limit on the application. Do you guys remember when I said 1 year goes by really fast? Because here's the thing. Right here. Once you successfully complete the pre-licensing course, and this is the class course, okay? Once you complete this, once I give you a certificate, then you have 1 year to activate your license. That means you have 1 year to pass the exam and activate your license. It's not 1 year from when you pass the exam, the state exam. It's 1 year from when you finish my course. And that's where a lot of people get confused. They think, well, but I did the course 3 months later, therefore I still have another 3 months. No. It's from the date of my certificate to you. You guys got it? So you need to speed up. You need to have everything lined up to activate your license. Sounds good. All right, non-residents. Crystal, here's the answer. Can someone who does not live in the state obtain a New Jersey license? Absolutely. You'll be a non-resident licensee. But you're going to have to qualify in the usual way, what means that you have to do the 75 hours, pass the school exam, get a certificate, pass the state exam, and activate your license the same way, and also consent to be sued in the state. All right? So can you have a non-resident license? Can somebody in California have a license in Jersey? Yes. Can somebody in Alaska have a license in Jersey? I'm going to extremes, obviously. But the answer is yes. They just have to come here, take the class. I mean, not now because we can do the online thing temporarily. But that's the process. Okay? And consent to be sued in the state of New Jersey. If you're planning on moving here, then all you have to do is update your driver's license and with your current address here in Jersey, and then you'll be a Jersey resident. Not a problem. But if you have an out-of-state license, driver's license, then that's your residency. So you apply for a non-resident license. Corporations. Can a corporation, I'll give you guys a break in a second, can a corporation have a license in the state of New Jersey? And the answer is yes. There will be no WICR, there will be no REMAX, no New Direction. There will be no agency out there if this was not possible, right? But how do we make it possible? Well, one of the partners or one of the officers, appointed officers, must have a broker's license. Because remember, every agency must have one person that's responsible for the entire office. You guys good so far? All right, we're recapping a couple of things, right? All right, this I want to address. Usually I skip, but I want to address real quick here. As far as the examination, we'll talk about the exam in a second, but I want to talk about this part. If you have any difficulty, like you're blind, disabled, or have extreme language difficulty, all right? I'm saying this for people that have English as their second language, for instance, right? Contact the state exam center, which is PSI Exams. We're going to go over this in a second. Contact them and say, hey, I have a disability, and in this case, it's language, for instance. How can you guys help me out a little bit more? Sometimes it could be audio, so they'll have, instead of your reading, they can have an audio so you can listen to the question. It could be that the exam is in a different language, all right? I know, for instance, life insurance and health insurance and others, you can do it in Spanish, all right? I'm not sure if any other languages are available right now. Real estate, I had somebody say yes. but when I contacted PSI exams, they said no. So I don't know. You guys have to call them up and ask them if it's either more time or if it's listening, if it's audio, whatever can help you pass. Okay. Next, temporary license. Right here, we're going to write brokers right here. Nicole, no, sorry. At least I don't have it. And it doesn't make any sense. Nicole's asking if the exam could be, my exam could be in Spanish. I don't have it in Spanish, and it wouldn't help you if when you go to the States, you don't have it in Spanish either. Does that make sense? So really doesn't help. For the life and health and property and casualty, yes, I have it. But for real estate, until they tell me they have a Spanish or different language type of exam, I don't need to update mine. Okay? So right here, temporary broker's license. Okay? If a broker dies or becomes mentally or physically incapacitated, so like my broker's already mentally incapacitated, I'm just waiting for the actual diagnostic, and the office has no other broker to carry on with the transactions or that are already in progress, then a temporary broker's license may be issued to a salesperson with at least 3 years experience immediately preceding the date of the application. So what we're saying here is that if there's no active broker, then who's going to pay you, right? If there's no active broker, then who's going to guide you? If there's no active broker, then who's responsible for you in any real estate transaction, right? So that's why the state allows somebody that has at least a 3 years full-time experience to step up and say, hey, I'm here. I'll take over. Does that make sense? And they'll issue this temporary license, but as it says, it's temporary. It's temporary for 1 year. That means that within the year, you have to complete the normal qualifications, which would be the 150-hour course for your broker's license. You guys got it? After that 1 year, if there's no other broker to take over, that's it. The office must close down, real estate commission takes over. And you don't get paid. Because if there's pending transactions, then don't get paid. Okay? All right, next thing we have is the CE credit requirements or continuous education. Sarah's asking if that happens. No, usually either they finish the deals or they try to hire somebody with experience or that has a broker salesperson license or something to take over. Sometimes offices even merge for it to happen. Okay? As far as CE credits, all licenses, except for the referral license, all licenses must be renewed every 2 years, right? All licenses must be renewed, but only some licenses have to do the CE credits. If you're just a referral license, so salesperson working on the referral company, then you're not required to do the CE credits. Everybody else, yes. Okay? And those CE credits must include at least 2 hours on ethics, and they must be completed on or before April 30th of the renewal year. I'm just crossing this out on purpose. So on or before April 30th of the renewal year. But you guys already know that the renewal of the license is by June 30th, right? You remember that? See, the thing is, if you guys see it right here, I even crossed it out. If you complete your CE credits between May 1st and June 30th, then automatically you get charged an additional $200. You get charged an additional $200. So there's a renewal fee, which I'll talk about in a little bit, right? Plus $200 plus the CE credits that you have to pay the school, whether it's online, by mail, or in class, right? So you have a bunch of fees to pay if you don't do it within the right time, right? And guess what? If you're doing it between May 1st and June 30th, most schools will start doubling their fees. You're in the rush, you're in the need, right? Here you go, an extra a few bucks that you have to pay because now it's emergency. You guys got it? So fees on top of fees on top of fees. If you have 2 years to complete 12 hours, why you wait for last minute? And a few years ago, in 2015, which is the 3rd year of renewal, the Real Estate Commission had collected already over $300,000 in $200 fees. That's year 1, 2, and 3 of renewals. Over $300,000 in $200 fees. Because people were leaving everything for last minute. All right? So Luz is asking, so next year for us. All right, let me address that real quick. That's a great question. If you are within the year, you don't have to do the CE credits. So if it's within 1 year of activation of license to the renewal, you don't have to do CE credits. You still have to renew, so you pay the $100 renewal, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But the CE credits, you don't have to do. Okay? Failure to renew. If you don't renew your license for 2 consecutive years or more, then what happens to your license? It becomes void. That means if you want to get your license again, you want to reactivate your license, get back into real estate, what must you do? The 75-hour course again. And I usually try to make everybody aware, right? And some of you will know that the jokes are exactly the same. It's not the material, it's the jokes that you should be afraid of. All right? It's already tough to hear them once. Imagine a second time. That's why I keep my jokes corny, so I can get you out of here as quick as possible. All right? Now, and Sarah says it's true. No, Jonathan says it's true. Sarah says facts. Yet, they're still here. Look at that. They love the jokes. That's why they come back. Gary says it's true too. All right. License fees. To activate your license, guys, $160. Whether you are a salesperson or a referral agent, now called salesperson working for a referral company, right? If it's for broker license, $270. If it's a broker salesperson, $270. Branch office, $150. Corporations, $270. To renew your license, every 2 years you pay $100 as a salesperson, or $200 if you are a broker. We're on page 5, and it says a broker who goes out of business. This is in green, so it's almost guaranteed to be exam question. A broker who goes out of business must close out the escrow account, remove the signs, notify clients, and provide a commission with a name and address where past records will be available for 6 years. Remember, 6 years. We're going to repeat this a bunch of times. You got to keep permanent records for 6 years. Next. You guys don't have to highlight this, or if you have the physical book, you don't have to highlight because we already covered this. This is the licensing procedure for you to get your license. Sorry, background noise. We're right by the highway. So, licensing procedure. You need to complete the 75 hours, get a score report, submit that report signed by the sponsoring broker to the Real Estate Commission. You guys already know this. And this has to come with $160. They already just went over it. And it goes to the State Treasurer of New Jersey. You also have to complete your fingerprinting process. I already told you this as well. By the way, I want you to understand that whatever's here in the book is outdated. These links are outdated. The fee is different. In my website, the school website, you have all that information. When you log into the student portal, I showed you earlier, you have the link there to do your fingerprints. Okay? And there's a video. Follow the steps of the video. Very, very important. Okay? This is no longer working as a link. This is no longer working as a link. And it's not this fee. It's $66. You guys good? All right. I already mentioned before PSI exams. See, for you to do your state exam, It's not us. For you to get a certificate from us, you need to do the school exam. Without our exam, you cannot move forward. Now, without their exam, you cannot move forward either. So as soon as you pass my exam, the school exam, you get a certificate. I enter you into their system, into PSI services system, and you're going to receive an email that says, congratulations, you're now eligible to take the salesperson exam. I created a video on every step that you have to take to schedule your appointment. So follow those steps. Anthony, I'll address that in a second. Great question. Now, you have to schedule your appointment at least, it says here, at least 4 days in advance. I'll tell you right now, they're about a month and a half behind because of this whole quarantine. So let's say you pass today and you schedule, it's going to be only for a month and a half from now. So again, I keep this open. You guys can join as many times as you want after you're done with the exam, so you keep the information fresh. I recommend you always pick up the phone to schedule. There might be an opening somewhere that's not online. So hey, I want to schedule, what's the earliest date? I'll go anywhere. So drive anywhere in Jersey to get it done. The fee is $45. So what I want you to know is that it's for $45 every single time. So how many $45 do you want to spend? You got it? Do you understand my question? Great. So these are some examination centers: Brick, Cherry Hill, Linwood, Mercerville, New Providence. This is my favorite. North Brunswick. There's another North Brunswick as well. Paramus. You have Secaucus, Parsippany. All I would like to say about this is make sure you avoid high traffic areas, or go in times where there's no traffic or minimal traffic. So when you get there, you're fresh. You're not stressed because of the traffic. I've done this before, and I was not paying attention to the exam at all. All right? So just letting you know, try to go to places. I like New Providence. I like North Brunswick as well, the shops at North Brunswick. If you live close to any of these high traffic areas like Secaucus, then go ahead, go to Secaucus. But other than that, it's a great facility, by the way. But other than that, it's just the traffic to get there, especially now that the floodgates open, right? I would avoid it altogether. Hold on, Anthony. Let me address Anthony real quick. If you're already fingerprinted for a job, do you have to do it again? The answer is yes, you have to. It's different departments. For instance, a few years ago, I took 4 licenses in 5 months, and I had to be fingerprinted for every single one of them. To open the school, even though I'm the instructor, I had to get fingerprinted as an instructor and fingerprinted as a director of the school. And my partner being part of the school and having a certain percentage of the business, he also had to be fingerprinted to open the school. So it's the same fingerprints, but from one fingerprinting to another, you could commit a crime. So they just want to make sure that you only commit crimes after you fingerprinted, okay? All right, next. Crystal says, are exams given on a Saturday? Usually they have in the morning 2 or 3 sets of exams. Usually they do. Right now, I'm not sure because of the conditions that we're in, but do check out the website to see what availability they have. But like I said, usually they do. Sarah's asking, why is it my favorite, New Providence or the shops at North Brunswick? Because it's so quiet, peaceful. Where it's located, it's very peaceful. When you're driving there, it's nice. See a bunch of green, relaxed driving. So when you get there, no noise, no nothing. Okay, that's the only reason. All right, back to this. What to bring? You have to bring with you 2 forms of ID. One of them must be a government-issued photo ID. Government-issued photo ID. Okay? You have up to, you have to arrive at least 30 minutes before your scheduled time. So if you're scheduled for 9 o'clock, be there at 8:30. Okay? And you're allowed up to 4 hours. I'm going to repeat this a bunch of times. You're allowed up to 4 hours to complete the examination. You don't have to stay there for the whole 4 hours. Hopefully, you won't stay there for the whole 4 hours, right? Because that means something might be wrong. I'm not saying it is, but I'm telling you, if you're taking that long, you're second guessing yourself, most likely. You're changing answers, most likely. Okay? I had people that did the exam this weekend, and I kept on sending them messages to everybody. I said, stop second guessing yourself. Go with your gut feeling. All right? So it's very, very important that if you fail because you had to fail versus changing answers and what if? What if I didn't change that answer? Could I have passed? Does that make sense? So fail because you have to fail. Yep, I didn't want to point at you, Monica, but since you pointed at yourself, go ahead. Yep, exactly. All right. The examination includes 80 general real estate questions. Approximately 10% of these are math questions. 30 are state specific. And the passing grade is 70%. This means that the passing grade is 77 questions out of 110. And the only reason why I'm putting this here is because I had people that tell me, well, Bruno, you said that the passing was 70%. I had 72. No, the way they give you the result is you had 72 correct answers out of 110. So in terms of percentage, that's below the 70%. You guys got it? So very important. You need 77 correct answers. In my exam, you need 83 correct answers, because to pass mine is 75%. Why do I do that? So when you go to the state, you only pay $45 one time. I prefer that you fail mine, right? If you have to, you fail mine and try it again versus going to the state and paying and paying and paying and paying. You guys got it? After successful completion of the state examination, the broker will notify the state of the new salesperson association, and you can only begin working as soon as your name appears in the state's licensee name search. So until your name is online, can you work? Under your name, the answer is no. Can you work with somebody and get trained and shadow? Yes. You guys got it? Nothing can go under your name until you're licensed. That's what this says. We already addressed the credits. All right, Guaranty Fund. So Guaranty Fund is not fun at all, and I'll tell you why. Because the Guaranty Fund is to guarantee the general public that if you screw up, or if your broker screws up, or if your unlicensed assistant screws up, that the public has a way to recover certain monies. Now, they first must name the real estate commission as a party to a lawsuit. So they have to sue you, your broker, and your assistant, sue the real estate commission as well. And if there's a judgment against you, then you have to try to collect, the person that suffered has to try to collect from you guys first, and then the real estate commission will release money from the Guarantee Fund. Okay? If they do take out money, the max that they can take out is $20,000 per offense. Okay, that's the max, $20,000 per offense. And if they do pay out up to $20,000 per offense, your license, guys, your license is now revoked. It's not suspended, it's revoked until it's reimbursed with interest. Why am I saying this? Because in the state exam or school exam, there might be a question, and in that question, they might say until you, it's revoked for 5 years or suspended for 5 years. So no, there's no timeline here. It's simply you are revoked, period, until it's reimbursed with interest, and then it's up to the commission if they want to reinstate your license or not. All right, so you're immediately revoked until you pay back with interest. Okay? All right, next we have interstate property. Where it says interstate, what I want you to know is that this means out of state. So out-of-state properties or interstate or between states properties. See, these properties, if you're trying to advertise to New Jersey residents, then these properties must be registered with, according to the Real Estate Sales Full Disclosure Act, must be registered with the Real Estate Commission and also the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Why do we have to register? Well, to protect the public from unscrupulous developers, marketers, or even from undue sales pressure. Okay? I know I'm going a little faster now because later on in a different chapter we'll go more in detail in chapter 18. Okay? And this is already highlighted, so it helps you anyway. What you need to know is this. Buyers, compared to in-state properties, out-of-state properties, buyers have up to 7 calendar days to cancel these contracts. Up to 7 calendar days to cancel these contracts. Okay? If it's in-state, we're going to talk about it later, it's 3 business days. Page 7. Right above rental referral agencies, right here, I want you to know that a recent Real Estate Commission rule also addresses non-New Jersey properties, so out-of-state properties or interstate properties that are advertised in New Jersey in languages other than English, right? So if it's advertised in French, if it's advertised in Spanish, if it's advertised in Japanese, whatever language it is, if it's not in English, then all forms of advertisement from there on, so subsequent forms from there on, must be made available in that same language. Okay? So if I start advertising in Spanish, all advertisement from there on must be in Spanish, including contracts. You guys got it? That's what this recent law says. If you advertise in a language other than English, all forms must be advertised in that same, must continue in that same language. And the final thing, so I can give you guys a break, is rental referral agencies. See, rental referral, all right, rental referral means that there's a landlord and there's a tenant. You found a tenant for that landlord and you're getting paid for it. Well, here's the thing. If you're dealing with tenants and you're getting paid for it, you need to have a real estate license and you need to put it under contract. Okay? Things that I know there's a lot of people out there that help facilitate the rental for landlords, right? If they expect to get paid, they need to have a license. Otherwise, it's illegal. And that contract must specify the services to be performed, the fees to be charged, date and term of the contract, so how long it's going to last this contract, and clearly a refund policy. Okay? It could say no refunds, but it has to clearly state what is the refund policy in that contract, okay? You guys got it? All right, we're going to go on a quick break. This is the best part of every chapter for a lot of people. Every time you see summary on a page, that means we're done with a chapter, right? So we're going to go on a quick break. It's 8:23. Be back at 8:24. Be back at 8:30. And we're just going to go a few minutes overboard, but it's a short chapter, chapter 2, okay? Be back 8:40. See you guys in a little bit.